Hello and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, APC Lagos chapter holds direct governorship primaries. Suleiman Hunkuyi fails in bid to win PDP's governorship primaries ticket, loses to Issa Ashiru, and later on the show, fresh violence erupts in Jos. 7 killed, houses burnt as President Buhari talks tough. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Dari Odufawokon, and Tony Uwaje. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Glad to have you join us. After 2 postponements, the direct governorship primaries of the Lagos State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has finally been held. It is an eagerly anticipated primary election due to many things staked for the poll. While the incumbent Akinwumi Ambode aspired to get a second-term bid, some power brokers thought otherwise over alleged refusal to carry stakeholders along. They openly anointed another aspirant, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to take his place. Thus, it has become a 2-horse race between Ambode and Sanwo-Olu, with APC members holding the ace to decide the fate in a novel open direct primaries. However, as at press time, the APC leadership in the states and some members of the National Working Committee, NWC, are locked in a debate about the propriety of the primaries. Meanwhile, the national leader of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, described the process as transparent and a new dawn for democracy in Nigeria.
Elections are supposed to be the celebration of democracy. And we are trying to show the world and the Nigerians that we are Democrats because democracy is present in us. What an open election means is elimination of corruption in any delegate system, transparency in the true sense of it, so that the party faithfuls, as you have seen them here, you can't buy all these people. Then you cannot. This is a commitment to party.
All right. Babajide, we set out this morning and TVC in our regular, usual style of trying to, be the best in election coverage. And we actually had people
retaining our position as the best in election coverage. I'm not trying to be the best.
Oh. I was sorry about that.
We are the best already, so that's verifiable.
Corrected.
Yeah. In trying to retain our position,
retain
our
our
God-given position
as the best election coverage. So around, some of our reporters, they were all around, and we had our live broadcast equipment, and we saw how that process panned out. I was somewhere around Alausa, and I saw the enthusiasm and how people came out to express their destiny. But around 2 o'clock, I got wind that the NWC people, they were in, what's the name of, Protea Hotel, very close to Elephant House, and that they were meeting there, and they said they've not even started the process. They've not seen anybody that they are just setting out. That was around 2 p.m. And I was like, shoo. And the next thing I saw a police van entering, and they said that they had a ballot paper. And I thought what they did was option A4. So apparently from my investigation, there's a clash between the Ambode camp and Sanwo-Olu camp in the best way. While the Ambode camp, they're rooting for the ballots. The Sanwo-Olu camp are saying, look, Option A4, count them. Where are we? What is happening? Lagosians want to know.
Well, if you look at what's happening across the state, you see some of the weaknesses of the APC showing. You see the rudderlessness of the APC leadership manifesting. Because they didn't plan sufficiently. The material didn't come yesterday. Election result sheets didn't come in yesterday. So because of that, they decided that it had to be postponed because the result sheet, they didn't have the result sheet for the election yesterday. You know, it was supposed to hold yesterday.
Yesterday, yes.
Now, you had 24 hours, and the NWC members who were to conduct the process, they've been in town since yesterday. Why they will now, after seeing videos of people voting, you know, coming out in large numbers voting, to now say you want to organize election in the evening?
As we are talking.
I mean, it's ridiculous. People had voted. This thing has been trending. They've seen Lagosians, members of the APC, demonstrate their love for the candidate of their choice. You now said, okay, now that you want to begin to move materials to voting points for a fresh election. There should have been synergy.
Honestly.
And if you look at the way the election in the direct primaries in Osun panned out, the only thing that these NWC members need, these organizers, the only thing that they need is the result sheet.
Honestly.
Where the result will be written. That's all. You don't need ballot papers.
Because we witness
people don't need to cast ballots in this kind of election. All that they need to do is file out behind the candidate of their choice. The pictures of those candidates are there, pasted high up, you know, in front of the parapets of the buildings where the voting will take place, and people will file out. It's the most transparent process. There's no reason to cast ballot anywhere. There's no need for a ballot box. This is the best way that it can be done.
Option A4.
Yes, option A4, which delivered the best election in our history. Which delivered the election that Abiola won. You file up, you see who they are voting for. If they don't want a candidate, nobody goes to his own session to go and line up.
And this one is easier. We just have two aspirants.
Yes, it's a good thing that there are just two of them. So it's easy to know who has won in a particular unit. And then when you count, once you've counted the ballot, the result sheet that the organizers is where they will now enter the result. That's the only document that they need. That's the only document that they need. So saying that they want to use ballot, of course people are going to doubt their sincerity. And don't forget that this same, in the APC, we've seen people sent from Abuja to mess up primaries. It happened even in Imo, where a whole governor of a state did not even know the venue of the primaries of his party.
The Congress.
The Congress of his party. He didn't know where it was going
The
to
same
take
thing
place.
is trending about Professor Tommy too.
Now the thing is, look at what is happening. APC is in Imo now. In Imo, the chairman of the organizing committee for the election announced a particular candidate and took to his heels. You know? And then the 7 remaining members said, oh, this is the person who won. Someone different from the person that the chairman. So what is happening to APC? Why is the party so rudderless? At a time when you are thinking they are getting things right, you start hearing of one crisis or the other. Even in Zamfara, it's the same thing. They can't organize a simple primary election. They postpone it today, move it to another day, they will postpone it again. Why is entrenched interest such a threat to a transparent process? People should cast aside their selfish interests. Let the people show who they really want to lead them. Okay. And Lagos people, look, Lagos people came out today. The way to demoralize people is to now say they should go back in the evening. Who conducts elections like this in the night? Who? I mean, it's a recipe for violence.
Okay, let's listen to the Lagos State Deputy Governor Idayat Adebule, who says she will endorse the candidate chosen by her party. She's the Deputy Governor to Akinwumi Ambode.
Well, it's a very clear election, and as you can see, our people have spoken. Their votes in line with the dictates of the party. We have voted for the party. We have voted for whom the party have the leaders of the party, the GAC, and of course all members of our. You can see here is an overwhelming experience, and our people have decided they have voted, and of course we are armed with them.
Now, Ma, will you be supporting whoever emerges as the candidate for APC in terms of campaigning for that person?
Yes, I have no doubt that anybody that emerged today as a candidate of the party, of course, I will be supporting. But I have no doubt, and as exhibited here by my people, that my people are with the party, and with the party position, I stand.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
I stand, and I choose to stay with my party at this.
That is the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, the Deputy to Akinwumi Ambode, saying, I stand with my party. Tony.
Party.
It's getting interesting.
It's getting hot. Yes, we've gotten to this level. Of course, the visuals are there. Everybody saw that people came out this morning to vote. What I find interesting at this point is the National Working Committee coming at this late hour to say something different. Why were the NWC in the morning when they
were filing out?
When the party was... they were in Lagos since yesterday, right?
Yes.
So what's going on? And now the confusion is about to set in. If the national leadership fail to do the right thing, now, it's not late yet. It's not late. But from information before I got here, from what I'm hearing, something is likely to happen, and it will all go well for EPC in Lagos. This is not the first time issues like this. We thought we've passed this. In the past, before the dawn of this administration, we used to experience this under the under the PDP, that people's votes never count. If election was organized this month, it was trending everywhere. I saw the deputy governor, and from that point, I know that's a finality. But then, the NWC came to Lagos to conduct election. And as the voting was going on, the NWC was not there. That means there's something wrong somewhere. So where is the NWC? And why are they not even talking? And then suddenly, from nowhere, he said, they're still consulting. Last night they were consulting. This afternoon they're still consulting. So when is the consultation going to end?
They were at the party secretariat till late yesterday.
So this afternoon we ought to have gotten over this. I don't want to dabble much into this.
It's been lingering. Dari, what's the implication of Idayat Adebule coming out boldly like that to declare our support
for the party?
For the party, and my own interpretation, her support for the party. She mentioned GAC, and those are the people that previously endorsed Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
And you mean Babajide Sanwo-Olu has been endorsed by the party?
Yes.
And that's what she's saying too. She didn't need to mention a name. She said the party, through its organs, has presented a candidate. And with that candidate, she is standing alongside her people. So we all know who she is standing with. If the question had been more...
Deputy Governor to Governor
Sanwo-Olu's opponent now, the Deputy Governor to Sanwo-Olu's opponent. I understand what is going on in your mind, but it is just to tell you that in Lagos, in APC, there is a very huge and serious effort to ensure that the party remains supreme. And I will be shocked or surprised at anybody who frowns at this, because it is good for our democracy. The implication of the deputy governor coming out to support the party's candidate, who is obviously not our boss, and saying it openly, is to tell you that the people, the members and leadership of the All Progressive Congress in Lagos State has taken a position. And anything contrary to that will not augur well for APC generally, not just in Lagos now. And that is where I want to quickly put the deputy governor's position beside what I will call the antics of the NWC committee here in Lagos. If they don't know, I think they quickly need to be told that in Lagos, the APC in Lagos has its way of doing things. Some months, even weeks ago, some chieftains were so aggrieved with the leadership of the party in Lagos that you would think they will never have anything to do with either Tinubu or the APC leadership again. But along the line, you can see the likes of Banire, Amzat, and co. endorsing Sanwo-Olu, falling in line with the dictates of the party. And alongside, they also being heralded, being praised as party leaders. We saw the clips of Banire being celebrated again in the same motion where he had issues with people as our leader, our mentor. So the NWC, through its committee members for this election, should be cautious in the way they will dabble into the internal affairs of the party. It should allow the people to have their say. The majority must be allowed to have. A lot of rumors are milling around about something which will be made to believe that these are not true by the actions of the committees. They must not do anything that will tilt the balance of the kettle as it is, because it will not augur well for the party at the national level.
Jide, what do you make of this open declaration of support from Idiat Adebule?
No, she can see clearly that the game is up for Governor Akinwumi Ambode. It's a tough one, but she can see clearly that the governor has hit a dead end. And once you've hit the dead end politically, the center is a ditch. So you either decide to stay on the left or stay on the right, because the center is a ditch. So she did the right thing. She did the right thing with an eye on the future. I'm very sure she did that with an eye on the future, because she could just be thinking, why should I go against the grain? If you see the way everything seems stacked against the governor now, that there seems to be no way back. Everything seems stacked against him. And if I were in this position, he has found himself in the position that Thabo Mbeki, the former president of South Africa, found himself, when the party eventually forced him to resign, you know? So once your party has moved against you, and when we are talking about your party now, we are talking about the leadership of the party, the generality of the people. He will still have his own supporters, but clearly the people supporting him are in the minority. So,
with what we saw today,
so at the end of the day, what we are going to see, what we are going to say is that the generality of the people who are members of the APC in Lagos have taken a position, and the position is to go with Babajide Sanwo-Olu. So that can also be interpreted as the voice of the party. So once that is established, there's no, in politics, everyone cannot be on the same side. But the majority, once the majority has had its way, then so be it. Everyone will have to abide by what has happened. So Idiat Adebule has taken that decision. Where does you saw the queues? It was in some cases it was even a reality to see anyone file behind the governor. And this is a first in Nigeria. I've never seen this kind of situation. Okay. I've seen governors
Is it that
failed to be re-elected. But that usually happens when they move to another party.
Jude, I was thinking that with the war chest at the disposal of the governor, he can mobilize people, and this is a direct primaries, and it will count. Till I saw results today, some preliminary results.
You see, even when we say that, yes, money has been such a big negative influence on our politics, but it's not in all cases that money works. Let's look at the example, what happened in the North in 2015 with the Buhari sack. Jonathan spent money. Even if he brought a giant ship loaded with money and decided to distribute to people in the core North, they will still not vote for him. You see, those leaders, I said sometime, I think about 2 weeks ago, that in politics, your party comes first. After the party, the people. After the people, your friends. Any politician who abides with that, by that principle is not likely to fall into a pit, because you must get your politics right. When you don't get your politics right and you defect, for example, the people in your party, those who make things happen in your party, will not go with you. And if they don't go with you, you are not going to make any headway where you are going. So even now, if you go into a contest, once the apex of your party, and the structures of the party, all the people who make things happen in your party, once they have left you, you live with the shell of the party. The shell of the party, in this case, I mean a few of your own supporters. You are not going to make any headway. And I'm sure that's how even the president is thinking, because the president has had to intervene on this. And I'm sure he must be seeing Lagosians, members of the APC, demonstrate their preference. In such a situation, the president will be hamstrung. This has gotten to a stage now, as I said, as I predicted 2 weeks ago, that this thing, at a point, it will be beyond Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He will not make a statement now. He dare not. He dare not now say, this person, because we know that when it comes to forgiving people, Asiwaju is legendary. But at this stage, so many people have taken a position that this is where we are going. How do you get all of them to change their minds and come back? To do that is to risk rebellion. And rebellion will spell doom for the APC in Lagos. So Asiwaju too has wisely aligned with what the people want. Because he's a leader who listens to the people. That is the source of his strength that people do not understand. I once told you a story, and he knows people, he knows the people matter. I once told you a story that transpired on the day Faleke had his birthday, his 50th birthday, Blue Roof. And there were 3 of them. Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the middle, Fashola beside him, and Faleke here. And everyone was going to Asiwaju, who was in the middle. And they were asking, when they go to him, he will say, you are from Agege, how is this person there? You are from this place, how is this person there? He knows the people. He knows the people who matter. He knows the people who work for the party in those areas. And once they are going, he will squeeze something in their hands. That's how loyalty is cemented. I noticed that they were not going to the other 2 guys.
A sitting governor.
They were not going to a sitting governor at that time. And the local government chairman. Chairman of local government chairman in Lagos State. But they were going to that man.
To him.
And for everyone who went to him,
He got something.
He got something, and he was asking them, how about this person? I hope they are fine. I hope they are doing well. You know, that's how you keep in touch with the grassroots. That's how you cement your own base as a politician. That is the secret of his success. People think he's just there just to give instructions. No, he must do things in line with what the people at the grassroots want. Otherwise, he will take take a decision, and people will not go with him.
Tony, where do we go from here?
I think at this point, the national leadership again must step in to resolve this crisis. It's a looming crisis. If NWC is still on top of this matter, the issue in Lagos, as far as I'm concerned, initially I took some position, but
when you saw what happened today,
this morning, I thought it was a joke, but you keep raging and all that. So it's so clear the direction APC members in Lagos wants to go. Instead of just overheating the polity, the NWC should just meet, because if they need to meet with the Lagos APC and settle this matter once and for all, because right now it's still being suspended. The matter is still hanging.
And they have 7th of October.
People need to know the direction.
And today is...
they came into Lagos yesterday. They came for election. This morning, they ought to have started by now. The results should be everywhere. So I don't get
the
where...
The thing is that elections are done in the morning.
Yeah,
so why didn't they come out in the morning to roll out election materials? Why did they have to wait until around 1 o'clock?
State Secretariat till latest.
They came
10 o'clock.
Obviously made arrangements with the state leadership of the party.
That is what they
and
paid
those
for.
ones felt that, look, we agreed on when this thing should start. They also have briefs from the national where they are coming on how they should go about this. I'm sure nobody will have told them to wait till the evening and conduct the election in the midnight. So I sincerely, there is need for the APC, like Babajide said, to get its acts right. The rudderlessness will disturb the peace of the party. And if that happens at this crucial time, they will have themselves to blame. They will sure have themselves to blame, because it is obvious that the people in Lagos, the people who owns the party, if you listen to Asiwaju talk, immediately he voted. He said the people in Lagos accepted the governor in 2014. If they didn't accept him, he would not have forced him on them. So if the people again today decide to accept either him or someone else, he will go with the choice of the people, the party members. So I want to appeal very seriously to the national leadership of the APC that this is a time to show the whole world, that the party is based on principles. That the party actually...
has to show leadership. There's no need...
Everything he has done will be rubbish by this.
There's no need for a fresh ballot. There's no need for
Who
a
will
fresh
come out
election.
for the fresh ballot?
There's no need.
You tell the people again.
Elections were held even in Ekpe.
Yes.
And the results came out. Let me tell you, there are people, APC members,
everywhere elections were held,
who has been staying at home since Sunday. They live in Ikorodu, they work in Ilasa, but they have not been going to their workshop because they want to stay and participate in this election.
The civil servants even left their offices in Alausa. They
go
came
and vote
to that area. I saw people in tie, people in suits.
So go and
parking
cast their
vehicle. I was like...
So are we going to say they should leave their offices again tomorrow? Leave their work again on... it won't be.
I just hope there will be a meeting point.
There
has to be a meeting point.
Better be.
And if they insist that, the process, they didn't witness the process, that they were in their rooms when the people were, and they want to witness the process.
They want to go around the 20 local governments.
From what I see, the government, I don't know how to deceive myself.
6-7 people.
From what I see, it is the same outcome. Even if you do it by secret ballot, it's still the same outcome. Once the people have made up their minds.
Except they are hoping to manipulate this system. We should land the...
No, it will be dangerous to come to Lagos and do that. You know?
Maybe that's what you should be saying.
It will be dangerous to come to Lagos. Nobody can write these figures. The overwhelming majority of the people
have spoken.
We have spoken. You can see where they belong.
Unfortunately, this has happened. The whole world have seen this, and you now come up with something different. I mean, it's going to... There'll be an explosion.
Okay, obviously. We'll leave it at that. We hope to hear from the NWC in clearer times to know the direction they're going to face now. Still to come, Suleiman Hunkuyi fails in a bid to win PDP's Kaduna governorship ticket. Stay with us. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're right on time. Journalist Hangout, reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. The political terrain in Nigeria is as unpredictable as it's unstable. The governorship primaries of the Kaduna chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has produced an unexpected outcome. The long-time bid of the senator representing Kaduna North Senatorial District, Suleiman Hunkuyi, to pick the PDP governorship ticket has suffered another blow. Senator Hunkuyi, who had dumped the All Progressive Congress to actualize this dream, lost the ticket to a former member of the House of Representatives, Issa Ashiru. Ashiru polled 1,330 votes to clinch the ticket ahead of Hunkuyi, who could only garner 564. That is 556 votes.
64.
564 votes. Babajide, to me, before now, I think I overrated Suleiman Hunkuyi. Thought what I heard about him is a grassrooter, he's a mobilizer, is this, is that, and thought leaving the APC was very sure that he wasn't going to get the ticket at the expense of Nasiru El-Rufai, or they seem to be incompatible in the last 3 years, just like Shehu Sani, like all the senators representing in Kaduna State, they're not compatible with the governor of Kaduna State. Hunkuyi has gone to PDP in search of a greener pasture. Yeah. Apparently, that pasture is not as green as he thought.
Well, Hunkuyi still remains a very good grassroots politician. Primary election, especially of the delegates variant, is not usually won by the person who is best at the grassroots. Because it's delegates that we are talking about here. So it's the person who has the most delegates that will win. Don't forget, it was coming from the APC. The structures of the PDP were there. And Issa Ashiru had been working on this for years.
Nurturing it.
Issa Ashiru had invested in the people, in the members of his party. You know, he lost the governorship ticket to El-Rufai.
Okay.
And he did well in that. The election was keen. He lost to El-Rufai and then moved to the PDP. But he had been there before Hunkuyi, and he had been there long enough to build bridges. He's someone who is well loved. He's someone who is seen as detribalized. So the people must have felt that, look, we know this person more because he's been with us longer than Hunkuyi. So why don't we vote for him? There's always this reluctance. In most cases, there's a reluctance to vote for someone who is just joining you. It happened to the insurance man in
Dr. Ogumbi.
Dr. Ogumbi. It happened to him, Ogumbi. Oh, no, it's not Yemi Ogumbi.
Akin Ogumbi.
It happened to him. The people, the PDP leaders prefer to vote for someone who had been in the party longer than him, rather than vote for someone just coming into the party. So they always think that it affects unity. Some people will feel used and dumped and all that. So that must have worked against Hunkuyi. But both of them are from the same local government. Issa Ashiru had been in the House of Assembly for 2 terms, been in the House of Reps for 2 terms. So he's, by his own right, he's a very he's a seasoned politician and someone who knows how to build bridges. So it's, it will make for a very keen contest in the end between Issa Ashiru and El-Rufai, the man who defeated him to the APC ticket in 2014. So I look forward to a very interesting contest. And one good thing about this contest yesterday was the fact that Ramalan Yero, the former governor of the state, and even Sani Idi,
doing well.
Sani Idi, who used to be CEO of NEMA, as well as Hunkuyi, they hugged Issa Ashiru. So PDP members in the state see Ashiru as someone who will be able to rally support, who will be able to galvanize support. They see him as the sort of person that that the party needs to confront El-Rufai and even defeat El-Rufai in the governorship election.
Tony, from the reports you've been reading about the primaries across the country, and it seems very interesting. And it gives, the indication, I don't know, maybe it's a media creation, but it's all about APC, PDP.
Yes.
That's what I've seen so far. And I was shocked that 93 other political parties are preparing, they're having their primaries too. But it has been underreported.
Yes, because of course we know these are the two dominant political parties, so all attention ordinarily should be on them. I wasn't surprised, but what surprised me most is the conflict. We thought we've passed that that level, but unfortunately, it's still raging. I'll paint the issue of violence, the issue of Delta State, where we have in one political party, in APC, for instance, we have Ogboru, we have Victor Che, we have Cairo Jogbo, we have Patutomi, 4 of them, two belonging to different factions, and all of them organizing their own primaries, picking their own.
In Rivers, the same thing.
In Rivers, the
Magnus Sabe and.
And then in Rivers, same thing, Magnus Sabe and this other guy, Tony Cole, you know, and they are not, they are refusing to come together. And election is coming close. That's why initially, when we started, I still called the national, leadership of the party. You can sit down, they have to resolve this thing as soon as the primaries are over. Because, for instance, as we seated here today, before I came, I learned Hope Uzodinma in Imo State won against the Okorochas declared. Just as Gidi said, the chairman eloped after picking, so these are the kind of dramas we have.
A war situation.
He announced his own preferred.
Without a result sheet.
And without his other members. Without his other members being participated.
Where is the result sheet?
That's what I'm saying. And then the acting public secretary of APC issued a statement cancelling the election. So we have cancellation. Right now, as we speak, there are some states still going through that election. The crisis is unending. When are we going to get through it? When are we going to come out of this kind of primaries? We have been doing it over time, and we expect a different result. We can't make progress like this. Things has to change. Things are, and I must confess, I didn't expect this from the APC. I was expecting something different. And when Oshomole came, I thought he's going to bring something different. I don't want to believe this is beyond him. I still want to believe he can handle it. Maybe at the end of the whole scenario, everything.
He's trying his best, but as you know,
it's so, the thing is so,
it's a big
it's so overwhelming. Dari, isn't court judgments after elections for 2015, one thing is key. You must get your primaries right.
A lot of that we have done.
Yes. If you don't get it right at this primary stage, the implication will be even after the election.
To be grave. Even shortly before the election, something could change. And we are already seeing the trend. We are talking about Nkuyi in Kaduna now.
Kaduna State.
His case is pathetic, though expected. I think Senator Shehu Sani saw further than Nkuyi did and quickly beat a retreat. Yeah. Though one cannot be too sure that his fate is sealed yet, where he's staying.
It's not sealed yet.
Now, but for Nkuyi, it's something he should have seen. Issa, the man who eventually won, joined PDP immediately. He lost the ticket in 2014 and has been there all the while. So it's understandable. That's a primary election. I have not heard him complaining really. So maybe that's. But talking about
the margin was too wide to complain.
The incident in Imo better be handled carefully by APC. In Ogun, I am seeing something that a court just said it is Kashamu's faction that must be recognized by the national for their presidential primary. Otherwise, they will be flouting the law. Don't forget that the other faction already produced Adebutu as its candidate.
Okay.
They also had a parallel.
But the Kashmir people also had a parallel where they picked someone else. Now, they've been in court for about 3 months. The judgment was given today, saying PDP must not forget that this is the Bayo-led ESCO is still the authentic till next year, April. That next year, their term will expire. So if you are going for your presidential primary and you use any other delegate list, apart from their own, you will be running foul of the law. So a lot of issues left, right, center. And these are issues these leading political parties must look into and get right. Otherwise, they will mess up the very foundation of the general election, because the primaries, like we saw in 2015, 2016, were exercises the courts really looked into. And we saw people being told you were not duly and legally nominated by your party. So you didn't win the election. The other person won. And in Lagos here, we are treading the same route, if this is not corrected. I just saw a press release, I don't know how true this is, from Nabena, the APC spokesperson, announcing the situation in Imo. And he was asked, I saw a report, he was asked by Premium Times, allegedly, that what is happening in Lagos, there is a cancellation. He said the national leadership of the party is not aware of that cancellation. So if this turned out to be true, then we have serious conflict on our hands. Serious conflict on our hands.
Well, the Lagos thing, by tomorrow morning at least, we'll know clear. That's why I said that Oshomole has to show leadership.
I hope he will.
Has to show leadership.
Hope he will.
Because at the end of the day, the buck stops at his desk. And if the party collapses, it collapses on his head. So he has to take the right decision. At this time, he needs the wisdom of Solomon.
What is his name? Adam. He must not use the wisdom of Adam.
He should use the Solomonic wisdom.
He needs Solomonic wisdom.
All right, moving on. Just the capital, Plateau State, in north-central Nigeria, is grabbing the headlines again, albeit for the negative reasons. The Rocky City is in turmoil again following a fresh outbreak of fresh wave of violence. The latest one broke out when some angry youths invaded a church last Sunday, leading to a reprisal. An all-out riot ensued and spilled to other parts of the city. 7 persons lost their lives in the mayhem, while several houses were burnt. But President Muhammadu Buhari is not taking this with kid gloves. He has vowed to descend heavily on perpetrators of such heinous crimes across the country. Gentlemen, I don't know why we keep having this in Plateau State. It used to be a very peaceful town. Jide?
The genesis of this is the reluctance of people to forgive one another. Some people have been serial victims of violence in that part of the country. And when you recall that your mom or your family, that most members of your family got wiped out in this kind of violence, revenge will be in your heart. So these guys have failed to forgive one another. There have been peace meetings, efforts to get these people to forget the past and live happily in peace. But once someone breaches that peace agreement, the whole cycle of violence, resumes. So this is what is happening. Now, the killing of a retired General Alkali, he had just retired and was driving alone.
Oh, that's okay. I remember that story.
He had just retired, and then he was confronted by suspected Birom militia, and probably killed, and the vehicle was pushed into a pond. Look at the debate and the way women in that community confronted the soldiers who were trying to drain the pond, because the soldiers got intelligence that the vehicle of the retired general was in the pond. That's the vehicle. And they got the vehicle and his blood-stained shirt. But his remains were not there. So they are still looking for the remains of this. I mean, that pond is a mining site.
It's
You
true.
can see.
Oh,
they're still looking for
7 General?
No, retired. He had just retired. I think barely less than 2 weeks or so. When this happened, yes. And his orderly was not with him at the time. His orderly was not with him. So the fresh round of killings, you know what happened? There was an attack in that area, in the area that I was driving through. There was an attack in that area a few days back. So some people out to revenge must have seen him and then descended on him. You know, so this idea, oh, they are not part of us, we must kill them, it has to stop. Because these killings are an embarrassment to the nation. Jos used to be the most peaceful state in Nigeria. A state where even foreigners like to come and settle down.
Yes, sir, because of sometimes
because
the
of its fantastic weather. But today, when you talk about Jos, Barking Ladi, what comes to your mind is the killing of people. When you talk of Jos North, what comes to your mind is the killing of people. And these killings have continued for a long time. So the government and the people have a role to play. They both have roles to play in handling this. Peace-loving, law-abiding youths have an obligation to expose the criminally minded, because all of these crimes can be linked to criminals. The criminally minded youths who go around rustling people's cattle and who go around killing people, they have an obligation to expose them. Community leaders have an obligation to push out the bad guys in their communities so that justice can be served on them. And then the government also has an obligation to bring these people together again. You know, because it's shameful, it's painful that Governor Bakola Long has done so much to try and achieve peace in that state. But now with these whole killings are messing up the hard work that the governor has put into uniting the state. Yes.
But by the time the thing is up. But Tony, it's, I don't know. Why is it difficult to live together? We are Nigerians.
I don't know. I don't know why is that question. Maybe I should throw it back to you. But the issue is this: I think we still need to be more proactive about this. We know these people. Each day they come and they disappear. There should be traces, like this general's car. If we have forensic analysis, if our crime department, criminal investigation department has those equipment, it's very easy. Somebody pushed the car into that pond.
When we have national database. If you have that database, you can easily identify that person.
These are things. Once we are serious, we can tackle these problems. I mean, we keep having issues like this, killing, and this would disappear. We can track them. The question I'm going to ask now is, how many of these people have been arrested and diligently prosecuted? If we can't do that, this impunity will keep raging. It won't stop. If this every day you hear killings in Nigeria, in states, the state cannot handle it. Let the federal take charge of it. We cannot continue to be talking about it's like life is cheap here. These are things that we can tame. We may not completely end it, but when people are brought to book to serve as a deterrent to others, it will reduce drastically. You can't see somebody on the road and just kill the person, and because we believe nothing is going to happen. We are sitting down here safe, but out there it's not safe. I mean, today is not. I mean, tomorrow, who knows who's going to be next? We cannot continue to. For me, we are not ready to tame this issue yet. Like Jos, every day we keep hearing the governors are trying. We know they can't sit down and watch these things. I know very well that there are certain things they do to curtail most of. And at times, the federal government saying, "Oh, we are always reactive. We are not proactive. We should be ahead of this at all times, and we shouldn't be taken unawares.
That is, somebody told me that, somebody was saying it earlier today, that you dare not try this during the reign of General Olusegun Obasanjo. The general is driving past your community and disappeared.
Retired general.
A retired general, yeah.
Yeah,
a general for life.
No, retired general is different.
They are not trying.
In the army,
And
they,
he's still fresh
they
anyway.
take,
Just left.
they don't take things like that slightly. And I want to agree with whoever must have said that based on the fact that there are examples, though some of them are not palatable examples from the General Olusegun Obasanjo. But even must we be left to make examples like this? Must we always be left to talk about how we kill ourselves while we are fellow Nigerians? It's sad. And for Jos particularly, I always weep when I was living up north. I was in Kano, Katsina axis, and whenever I'm on leave, the usual thing is for people from the south to, rush home, come to the south and spend their leave. But I usually spend most of my holiday in Jos. If I'm off for 4 weeks, I'll spend at least 2 weeks in Jos before coming home for 2 weeks, because a fantastic place to be. And then we have a country complaining that we are relying too much on the oil sector. One of the areas we could have profited as a nation is tourism. And Jos used to be a fantastic attraction to tourists, especially from outside the country. A lot of people from neighboring African countries, even far North African countries, who at particular time could not afford to go abroad, would prefer to even come to Jos because of its very clement weather. We are in Jos during summer. You feel you are anywhere like outside the country. Mm-hmm. And they have this fantastic hospitality industry. Their hotel, their restaurant. Before this carnage started, you could be on the street in Jos 10, 11, 12, and you always find somewhere, to hang
Fantastic
out.
nightlife.
Nightlife.
Some of the best musicians in Nigerian history.
They came out of Jos.
People like Two-Face Idibia, even Ice Prince.
And this guy with beards that was with Charlie at the time, I met him back then, and he told me about his desire to come to Lagos and pursue a career. The nightlife in Jos used to be so great. The entertainment in this industry is so fantastic. The hospitality. But we lost all that to, like Jesus said, the failure to forgive ourselves of past mistakes. If we continue to...
I would say no, if you offend a particular tribe,
you get back at you.
It is nonsense.
And
it is an innocent person that you go
you
and
picked on an innocent retired general.
It's nonsense.
Not clear up innocent people.
Kill the general. Now 7 people followed suit.
And it's not
no matter
If there is no genuine desire to forgive. When the crisis happened in Mambila, there was a meeting and the people said, we have seen what we have lost by this needless fighting.
Yes.
We have decided that we'll forgive one another. So killings have stopped in Mambila.
because of the sincerity.
Yes, they said we have lived together for years. Why did we allow this to happen? And they agreed that they will not. That was 2 times. 2 times they concretized the peace agreement. And killings have stopped in Mambila for a long time now. Killings have stopped.
Sincerely, I think.
But some in Plateau especially, the people have the contending groups have failed to forgive one another. The army made efforts. They even organized a peace match, a football match.
It was
at the end of the day,
peace
it
concert.
took the killing of an individual, and then they returned to this cycle of killings again. It just must stop. If people think that it's government that will just by fiat and
force them to live together, it will not work.
Government cannot do that.
It will not work.
We have to decide on our own that we want to live together as one people created by God.
And these are people who cannot separate themselves again.
There's even
values and
how many generations have been there?
That's why
if you chase an Hausa Fulani man out of just North now, where does he go? That was where he was born.
Practically nowhere else to go.
You know?
And so meaning they must live together.
Thank you
They
so
must
much.
make up their minds to
Dario
live together.
Dufo-Okon, Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Tony Wajo, it's been a while. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Thank you. We promise you to keep track on the situation of Lagos State, and we'll give you updates regularly. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. And also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. Watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubagu. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.